A storm was coming fast. Waves rose higher and higher. The ship creaked, men shouted, and everyone knew they might not make it. But this storm had a reason, because one man was running from God. His name was Jonah. God gave Jonah a message. God said, "Go to Nineveh." Nineveh was a big city, and Jonah didn't want to go. Maybe he was afraid. Maybe he was angry. Maybe he didn't want God to show mercy. But Jonah chose to run. He went the opposite direction. He went down to the coast. He found a ship going far away, and Jonah got on. He thought he could escape. He thought he could hide. But then, God sent a great wind, and the sea became violent. The sailors were terrified. They threw cargo overboard to lighten the ship. They cried out to their gods for help. But the storm only got worse. Then they found Jonah, and Jonah was asleep in the middle of the storm. The captain woke him up and said, "Get up, call on your God." Jonah came to the deck. The sailors began asking questions. Why is this happening? And they cast lots to see who was responsible. And the lot fell on Jonah. They asked him, "Who are you? Where do you come from? What have you done?" Jonah answered them. He said, "I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land." Then he told them the truth. He said he was running from God. The sailors were shocked. They asked, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down?" Jonah said something serious. He said, "Pick me up and throw me into the sea." He said, "Then it will become calm." At first, the sailors didn't want to do it. They tried to row back to land, but they couldn't. The storm was too strong. So they prayed. They asked the Lord for mercy. Then they did what Jonah said. They lifted Jonah up, and they threw him into the sea. And instantly, the sea became calm. The wind stopped. The waves settled. And the sailors were amazed. They feared the Lord. They offered a sacrifice. They made promises to God. But Jonah? Jonah sank into the deep. Down, down, down. Water surrounded him. He felt swallowed by darkness. It seemed like the end. But then, God did something no one expected. God provided a great fish, and the fish swallowed Jonah. Jonah was alive, inside the fish, for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah had nowhere to run, no place to hide, no distractions, only darkness, only silence, only God. And then Jonah prayed. He cried out to the Lord. He admitted he was wrong. He thanked God for hearing him. He said that salvation belongs to the Lord. Jonah finally stopped running, and God heard him. Then the Lord spoke to the fish, and the fish spit Jonah out onto dry land. Jonah was alive. Jonah was back on shore. Jonah was given another chance. Then God spoke again. God said, "Go to Nineveh." This time, Jonah obeyed. Jonah went to the great city. He walked through it and gave God's warning. And something surprising happened. The people listened. They turned from their evil ways. Even the king humbled himself. They fasted. They prayed. They asked God for mercy. And God saw their hearts. God showed compassion. God did not bring the destruction Jonah expected. God gave them mercy. But Jonah was upset. He didn't like that. He wanted judgment. But God taught Jonah something important. God showed Jonah that people matter. God cares about repentance. God cares about mercy. God's heart is bigger than Jonah's anger. Jonah ran from God, but God didn't give up on Jonah. God used the storm to stop him. God used the fish to save him. God used a second chance to change him. And God used Jonah's obedience to reach a whole city. This story reminds us, you can't run from God, but you can always run back to Him. God hears prayers. God gives second chances. And God's mercy is greater than we think. What part of Jonah's story stood out most to you? The storm, the fish, Jonah's prayer, or God's mercy? Subscribe for more Brick Bible stories.